And we're live.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core of frozen atomic waste. From deep within the core of frozen atomic waste.
Hello, Wastelanders. This is Male Kara saying welcome to. No, this is Andrew. I'm sorry. Welcome to episode 48 of the Fallout feed. I am joined this evening by Stalwart Pat. Hello, Pat. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. I hear that you've had a wonderful evening out and about the greater Philadelphia area this evening. Pat and I were bonding online earlier about the lovely location he went off to, Longwood Gardens, this evening. Oh, I used to love going to that place. My aunt and uncle live out in southeastern Pennsylvania, and oh my goodness, that's just a treat to go to. I don't know how you feel about gardens, Pat, but I love that place.
No, it's a family favorite for us. My wife is actually like a talented gardener, so she actually knows what she's doing. I know none of it. She's fully in charge of all the garden stuff at home, but we always enjoy going out. And this is extra special because they have for the next few weeks they've got a light show that's on at night and a beer garden. So I was enjoying a lovely cold beverage there at Longwood.
Oh, wonderful. That's so cool. And Dennis just hopped on the show tonight too. So hi, Dennis. How are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. Doing well, Andrew. How are you feeling, man?
Oh, no, I'm actually pretty good. Dennis poses a good question because I was just in a little bit of a ding-up car accident the other day, and I'm pretty sure that my little crappy Ford Ranger truck is no more. But my body feels shaken, but my soul is still strong, brothers.
So it's good that Andrew is okay. That's priority number one. So
yeah, no, I feel just fine. Thanks for your concern, fellas. That's awesome. But this, and we're getting into the episode here. Well, our intentions of doing are some Nuka World first impressions. We're not going to be too spoilery, everyone, so don't get too worried if you want to get into the real story and the nitty-gritty of it. We're not going to get into the real details of anything. We'll mention general themes and maybe some characters that we've run into, but we're not going to spoil any story aspect of it. But Nuka World, so we'll get into some of that. But I'm just saying this because some things have come up in our podcasting community here at ASA Podcasting that we're not getting episodes out frequently enough for Fallout Feed. So I'm going to have to start posting these more frequently, I think. Because who cares if it's a spoiler cast, right? If it comes out 3 months after we record.
Oh, so I mean, we've got what, like 3 or 4 in the can. It's not like you're that far behind.
Well, okay, we've got 5 or 6 in the can, plus 2 roundtables, which adds up to 8, plus another weird sort of special podcast I just recorded that I want to drop in at some point, which will actually probably air before this even will, of my crappy garage rock band. I remember Dennis was saying that he liked our theme song, so I was feeling really self-indulgent, and Dennis said that he might be feeling interested in hearing some more of the music.
Absolutely.
So I did a whole fucking podcast of the album that we just recorded.
Nice.
So I'm going to post that at some point, and hopefully you guys will have a fun little treat down Red Queen Hypothesis Lane. So we've got tons of podcasts on the burner, Pat, and I'm thinking every 3 or 4 days I'm going to start pumping them out now just so we can get stuff going. I know that Kara's in school now, and that's kind of why we were deciding to bank a lot of episodes so that we could just have stuff ready to go when Kara couldn't come up. But it seems like that we're recording frequently enough that we can make do. So I'm probably going to pick up the pace just a little bit.
Well, absolutely. Anybody that feels that we're dropping the ball or anything is welcome to bring in their feedback and to help us expand anything that they want to add. So any of you that feel that you're missing and want to hear more action, anytime you want to come up and talk about a topic, we're more than willing to take it. So get to the Fallout feedback at gmail.com.
Yeah. The Fallout feed at gmail.com for all of our feedback. And I recorded a feedback episode last weekend for the session 2 of the roundtable stuff with Jeremy because he wanted to be on and listen to some feedback and stuff. So Jeremy and I were on, and Dennis, you were on that show too.
Yeah, despite my horrible technical difficulties that I brought, I was there in spirit.
Oh, you're totally fine. Don't sweat it at all. But if it weren't for technical difficulties, we wouldn't have a podcast at all. But Dennis, I don't recall. I don't think we got to Pat's feedback, did we? We got to 3. I think we only got 4 feedbacks, and I think we only got to 3 of them, right? I don't think we listened to Pat's.
I don't think that we did.
Okay, so I need to make a note of that.
Maybe we did, and I just want to listen to it all over again.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. No.
Hear it twice. I don't give a fudge. Hi, 3 you guys. You thought
Muppet.
Like Muppet, yes. Good stuff.
Explicit tag.
Yeah. I think we have that anyway. I hope so.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
I let them slip all the time, and I really do not care. So all of this craziness, stupid intro, horrible, stuff on the side here. What are we thinking of Nuka World, guys? What's your first initial when you loaded up let's talk about like the initial load process even. Like how big was this? A huge file? What sort of update did it take to get onto your thing? What platform are you guys playing on? What just initial bones of it. What are we getting into here?
So I'm on Xbox, and it had downloaded in the background, that's the setting. So I actually don't know exactly how big it was because when I got home, I was out of town on a trip, and it had downloaded when I got home. It had not automatically installed, so I had to go into the installation option or whatever, and then I had to do. Actually, I don't remember if I had to do. I did not have to do a hard reset. I think this time. I think I just was able to do a soft reset. Just up power on and off, and didn't. So I didn't have any issues. There was a bug on Xbox that supposedly it disabled Vault-Tec, and I had that happen. Like my first playthrough, it didn't do that. My second playthrough, with my second character, it actually said Vault-Tec has been disabled. And then the third time it was re-enabled, and I think at some point Bethesda may have pushed out a really tiny patch to fix that issue because I have not had any issues with Vault-Tec content.
So when you say Vault-Tec, you mean the actual Vault-Tec DLC?
Yeah, the whole DLC. I think other people had much more of a problem, but for me, like there was one session where the Vault-Tec DLC was including all the content, right? So like your workshop content was for a period of time not available.
So even the menu option in your build screen.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
And then either it reset itself or Bethesda pushed out a little quick mini update behind the scenes, and it's working fine now. So that was very transient.
That's fun that you mentioned that because when I loaded up Fallout today, I had an update. Yeah.
I can't find any release notes for it.
Yeah, I was trying to shake down that. That was my next question. I got that same update today, and I was trying to chase down what the patch notes were, and I could not find it. The last patch notes I could find were like sometime in August, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was the big 1.7 update, which was the pre-Nuka World major update. So there's been, I think, 2, like the little mini patch to fix Vault-Tec, and then whatever got pushed out tonight. So it's there's been a couple things that have. That's weird. Bethesda's usually pretty good about the release notes.
Yeah, just because this will be released at a later date, what is the date that we're recording this? Is it September
9th? September 9, yeah. So that is what, about a week and a half post Nuka World?
Uh-huh. Interesting. So you're thinking...
And today's also, Black Day for the PS4
Oh God!
audience amongst us.
Yeah, I know this will be old news by the time you guys hear this, but wow, they just dropped the ball, right?
Yeah, sounds like it's all Sony. It's too bad I don't think we have any PS4 people on the cast tonight. Maybe you'll be able to get reactions from somebody. But that's a huge disappointment.
I thought Dennis had a PS4.
I had PS4, but then I switched over to Xbox very quickly.
Good job. Casey's our resident PS4 person.
Yeah,
and I know Victor has one too, but I think he does Fallout all on PC, I believe.
Yeah, because Victor's talked about mods, I think.
Yeah. He's
He's a big modder, right? Yeah.
Nobody cares about Victor. He's part of the master race. Forget about him. He's okay. He's fine.
Oh, Victor. Where would we be without Victor? Oh, goodness. Oh.
Yeah, I saw Victor post on the Facebook group where he's got Fallout fatigue and wasn't even thinking about getting Nuka World. That made me really sad because I really value his feedback and his contribution.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the core group of guys are kind of losing their steam, shall we say?
It's not just that. I mean, if you look at a lot of the YouTubers that are Bethesda-centric, it seems like they've been playing the game very hard since, the last release date, and everybody's kind of jumping off. It's kind of sad. I mean, I can definitely see some of the flaws that the game has, but I don't think that it's as bad as everybody pins it out to be.
Yeah, the common complaints that I hear are, not enough quests, not enough space, not enough exploration, but I have way too much of all of that still left to do. So I guess I just don't have the time other people do to play, which is stupid because I host a podcast about the dumb game.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much done with quests. I've got a couple of broken quests and like a couple of things I haven't done.
Yeah.
So in terms of quests, I'm almost out, but there's still places I haven't found. I know there's spots I haven't found that I haven't cleared out, that I haven't explored. So I don't feel like I'm done. I mean, it's been a really intense year when you think about it. I mean, a big complicated game with 4 factions and then on top of that 2 major DLCs coming on. So I mean, there's been a lot of. I'm like Dennis. I mean, I still just really enjoy it, but I can see how people feel like after about a year's worth of play or 10 months or whatever it is that it's maybe it's time for a break and look forward to something else.
Well, it also depends upon the way that you're looking at it. I mean, I just blew up my roundtable character, and I don't know that I should go into that here, but I had to completely start and try to race back to try and catch up to where the roundtable is, and I'm like, I'm not going to do survival anymore. I'm going to go on very hard, and just dialing that back kind of gave new life to the game for me, because I was like not pressuring myself to play on the absolute hardest mode. So it's just kind of where you are with the game. I can definitely see the fatigue, because I was like, maybe I don't want to play this game anymore. Maybe I should just transition to something else. But it just kind of depends on your playtime and kind of where you're going with things.
But Dennis, you just recently transitioned to something else, and you're back to Fallout already.
Well, I keep wanting to put down Fallout, and I'm like, I'm not going to play this game anymore. And I was playing Dishonored. I was going back into Far Cry 4. I was going to play Morrowind. There was like 6 different games that I was trying to go into, but there's still something about Fallout 4 for all the things that people say it's not great at. There's still something in the game that is enjoyable, and Nuka World has really brought something. Far Harbor really didn't do it for me, because the whole landscape with the constant rad damage, and it was like,
you're in my heart out, Dennis.
Well, I know, Andrew. I know you love Far Harbor, but the whole mountain in like the middle of the landscape where you're having to like Skyrim jump over things to try and get to the next area was really.
I don't care. Oh, it's great.
Well, because you fast travel, Andrew, and I was doing it in survival where I was like I really legitimately had to climb over mountains to get to the nucleus.
Yeah, that sucks. I didn't even cross paths with the child of Adam that you're supposed to run into on the way up the path, because I never found the fucking path, and I just had to hop up the mountain up the wrong side. I always do that in Skyrim too. They always do that. Like the first time you go to Iverstead, you think, oh, I'm gonna just go to this place and I'm gonna climb up the mountain, but
exactly.
the path leads you to the fucking backside of the place. They always do that, like the Bleak Falls Barrow. Like one of the first things you think, I'm going to go from Riverwood here straight to Bleak Falls Barrow in Skyrim, but really you have to go around the fucking mountain all the way up and then backtrack all the way back around to find the path and go up the backside of the mountain. I'm like, fuck that. Let's hop up the side, right? Come on, let's get a horse and go vertical.
Yeah, I'm a side hopper too. I can't stand those windy paths. Although the first time I'll usually follow the path the first time because you do things like you find the stupid child of Adam, or you find the foot locker that's got some interesting quest item or something. But after that, I've actually gotten addicted to the jetpack on the power armor lately.
Still have never loaded that. I'm not a big power armor person, but there are certain aspects. See, there's all these aspects of the game I haven't even explored at all. Maybe those people who are done with the game just don't have interest in exploring all the aspects of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But see, that's a real divide for people, because there you have people that are using power armor, that are using the jetpack, and especially that first entrance into Nuka World, where you're having to. There's the little bridge where if you don't run over it fast enough, you're screwed and you drop down. If you have a jetpack, you're like, oh, screw it, I'll just use my jetpack.
I didn't even think of that. That's cool.
You just pop right back up.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're somebody that doesn't use power armor, you're like, what am I doing? How do I do this?
Yeah, and there's a couple places in Nuka World that the jetpack really smooths things out, let's say.
So you use your jetpack frequently. You're a power guy a lot.
I have been, yeah, and it's weird because I mean the character I'm playing is like is a stealth character, but every now and then I'll like bundle him into some power armor and tromp around the wasteland or Nuka World or whatever. So that's I've there's some really good power armor in Nuka World, by the way.
Are there mods that you can add to your power armor to enhance sneak and silence and quietness? And
there is a Stealth Boy mod that you basically gives you a permanent Stealth Boy when you go into crouch mode. You can only put one mod on each piece of your armor. So and I always go jetpack on the torso because it's so handy.
I think
just real quickly, Jack. The reason that because the jetpack actually lets you do something that you cannot do without the jetpack. It's truly unique. I mean, like a Stealth Boy, there's other ways to be sneaky. Yeah. Or the Tesla coil damage that gives you some electric. I mean, there's other ways to do damage, but there's no other way to freaking fly in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I'm stuck on the jetpack.
I think the only mod that I've ever found, I don't know if you build them or find them, that I've ever put on a torso piece of power armor was one that automatically injected a stim pack if your health got low enough or something like that.
That's a handy one, yeah.
Well, I think
that's how low level I am with my power.
I think the major ones are stim pack if your health is low, and also resist addiction. It's like,
if you eat drugs, that'd be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I hardly ever use drugs anymore. I just got addicted to chems for the first time in weeks the other day. I was like, oh, that little red pill icon. I haven't seen you in forever. Hello.
It was Andrew's 420.
It was every day. But the little red pill was because speaking of Nuka World, I had to get my charisma up to a certain point because there was a part of the story where I definitely really, really wanted to convince some person to stay in their home and let me convince someone else to move into their homeland as well. And my charisma was definitely not high enough, and I went and I got all my clothes that had any charisma buffs to them, and I took all the drugs. What are the drugs that buff charisma? There was like one that gave a +2 to every special category.
That's Excel, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. And then there was another one that gave a +3 to like charisma and maybe intelligence.
Was it berry? There's berry mentats and orange mentats, and one of them gives you +5 intelligence, and one gives you, I think, +5 charisma.
Holy cow!
The only one that I ever pay attention to is grape mentats, which is like 20%.
It's grape, not berry. Yeah.
So
Which is like,
I had a base charisma, I think, of 4, and I got it up to over 13 with all my drugs and clothes.
I do not know how it's possible that Andrew has a gorilla, a zombie boy from a refrigerator, and 6,000 other people following him, and he has a 1 charisma. I mean, if this was Skyrim, there would people would be stoning him in the streets, going, "Oh, you're repulsive. We hate you." But he's got 6,000 freaking followers.
I get lonely, guys. I know that I've said I like some company. I got dog meat with me, and technically this character I'm playing a lot right now is my roundtable character, and the season 2, by the way, everyone out there, all the fanatics. But my season 2 roundtable character here, we found what's his name? Billy? Is it Billy, the boy in the fridge?
I don't know. I kill him usually.
You can't kill him. He's a child.
Yeah.
You can sell him into slavery, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Slavery. That's the ticket.
Death, slavery.
Personally, but there's a little boy you rescue out of the fridge, and there's this thing with Bethesda games that I have found, at least with Skyrim and Fallout 4, there's a couple instances in each game where you can go get a follower, and if you do not, it's just basically a fetch quest of delivering this person from point A to point B. But if you go to point A and collect the person and you never actually go to point B, that person will follow you forever and basically be your follower and go with you everywhere in the game. I used to do that with Skyrim. There were 2 distinct characters that I always used to do it with. A brother Verilus was one that I always remember, and there was some other one, maybe Esbern, that if you don't play the main storyline, you can get those 2 guys together and they just rock ass, just fucking mow down rows of enemies all over the place. It's wonderful. And you can do that in Fallout 4 too. Billy doesn't attack anything though. I'll warn you. He runs away when danger comes. The little boy in the fridge, the little ghoul boy in the fridge, can't give him any guns or anything. You can't load him up. He runs when the S hits the fan.
And for all of you new followers, I really recommend you go back and listen to the Askyrimaddictpodcast podcast, because Andrew will be like, "Oh, and I had Brother Verilus, and I dragged him all over the country," and all of the other people on the roundtables will be like, "Andrew, what were you doing? He's an old man. He's tired. Leave him alone."
Adventure. He's just bored of where he was or anything.
If anything you can learn, Andrew can always explain his reasoning, and it'll make perfect sense. And you're like, absolutely, I should drag a young zombie ghoul kid all over Nuka World and Far Harbor. And yeah, that's the way it should be.
The thing is, he was trapped in that fridge for over 200 years. Never gotten to Nuka World. And okay, my first and only observation about his parents are, this kid was less than a quarter mile from his parents' house, and in 200 years, and they still didn't find him, even though he's less than a quarter mile in a fridge. And I just walked by on the main road. The fridge is off the path a little bit, I'll give you that, but I still heard him just walking on the main road, and they're less than a quarter mile up the road. What the fuck? Why could they not? 100 years. So I popped the kid out of the fridge and I'm like, all right, kid, let's go to the greatest place on earth. I don't know, is that trademarked, or am I allowed to say that? Let's go to the happiest place on earth.
That's trademarked.
World. Yeah, that one is, sorry. So I decided, let's go to Nuka World, buddy. We'll take some pictures and you'll get to have fun. I don't know. Eventually, if I can
Andrew,
that roller coaster.
We're going to go to some happy place and take pictures. I don't know about that one, buddy.
It's nothing to do with the boy farm and the huge stash of Fancy Lad snack cakes that I've been collecting. So just do not pay attention to that stash behind the curtain.
And all the while, Andrew's like, I'm going to find you a little boy piece of power armor, just like, Peter Pan.
I thought that would be cute. Is there a mod for children power armor? I think that'd be adorable. Adorable. They would love that.
I don't know, Pat. That's on you.
No, I'm not going there.
I'm not trying to make a light of pedophilia. That's no joke. But I do want that boy farm to get Sean and
So
other.
yeah, so did you ever get the boy farm working?
No, I never did because the last time I built that, I don't have that mod loaded in this game. The last time I built that trap, for some reason, when I couldn't find the correct enough Fancy Lad snack cakes, and if you built them with the DLC, you know, they had a food aspect to the new DLC that you can build. Was it contraptions or something that added
Contraptions, yeah.
so you could make food, and I was trying to make Fancy Lad snack cakes, but they were not the correct kind of Fancy Lad snack cakes that would go with the boy trap. I don't know why they wouldn't work, and I would just have to go out and find the old style of in-game, non-created by me Fancy Lad snack cakes in order to make it work. I just never took the time to do that. So no, I never did get it to work. But thanks for acknowledging my boy farm.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with that.
Well, the thing,
I never got it to work.
what the real question is all right, that Andrew, that's what you spent all your time, and you spent countless hours, probably 992 hours, figuring out your boy farm. Pat, what was your equivalent? What were you trying to figure out?
I don't know. If I spend that many hours, I usually look it up on the internet. So I don't have that much patience.
Well, really, what I was wanting to figure out was it was all a joke. The boy farm, you know, of course, you know, gross joke. But what I really wanted to figure out was it's built for Sean, little Sean, that you get from the Institute. I wanted to find out if it was only little Sean that would come, and if only once or like multiple Seans would show up, or other orphans from around the waste. Like, I was just curious what children would show up, and then, you know, some twisted fuck turned it into a boy farm, of course. And I was just curious how the mod worked, because I'm not. Do you remember, Pat, what the mod says the trap is called? Isn't it just called like a kid trap or something?
I never actually loaded that mod, so I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just called Kid Cage or something. But
we need to have a episode dedicated to Tales of the Commonwealth, because
I was just about to bring it up.
I've tried to I had a horrible, despicable crash on my roundtable character, and I had to reload. And then I tried to reload Tales of the Commonwealth on a new character. I cannot, you know, maybe it's me. It's no fault of the mod or the mod author. I just cannot get this thing to load properly and work properly on my system. I will always hit a point, like I can, like, there's the like speakeasy or whatever it's called near Diamond City. I can go into that and do that. But then there's like the section off on the far is it west of the map where they want you to go to, and I will start walking to it, and my game will crash and crash and crash and crash. And like I said, maybe it's just what I'm doing, and I don't have any other mods loaded. I have like I have outfit switcher loaded and like one other mod loaded. So it's not like I have like 6,000 different mods loaded.
Huh. That's really weird. I've been out west with it. That's all I've done. I've done a few things downtown with it, but I've only done the out west stuff. So that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, and I played with it for a little bit, and although it's been updated at least twice since then, so I was playing with an older version, maybe even pre 1.7. I didn't have any trouble. I went west because I think the minor spoiler, that's where you find Bad X, and I encountered him, but didn't. Then I was having some other general mod crashes, which again I won't attribute to this game. It was just other multiple things, and I scale back to I have a very small core set of mods that I use for my roundtable guy.
Nice. You mentioned Bad X, and I will take this opportunity to drop Kyle Brennan's name. He is a member of our Facebook group, and if you'd like to join our Facebook group, we're a lovely community of people. Can be joined at facebook.com/groups/a Skyrim Addict podcast, or you can search groups for a Skyrim Addict podcast and the Fallout feed. Either way, we'll get you right to us. But Kyle Brennan is a member of our Facebook group, and he's been really active recently. And it turns out he's a voice actor for a couple of characters in the Tales from the Commonwealth mod, and he's going to come on the show here pretty soon. I haven't
Cool.
nailed down a date, but he's going to come on, and we're going to talk to him. He's a big fan of Fallout, and I'm going to talk to him. See if he's actually like a professional voice actor or what's going on with that, because I'm interested to see if he knows. Is it Ken Takahashi? Is that the?
I think that's the mod author. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if he knows him personally, or if this is just a volunteer type of throw my hat in the ring for a voice actor type thing, or because shit, if that's the case, I'll voice act for a mod. I ain't too proud to beg, right? So shout out to Kyle Brennan. He'll be on the show here pretty soon, hopefully.
So for any mod authors that are looking for a voice actor for a boy farm, Andrew Myers is your man.
Yes. So
Kyle is definitely awesome, and I've really wanted to get this mod together so I could see his work. And like I said, it's no fault through the mod or whatever's going on, but
yeah,
the stars are not aligning and it's not working for me.
Are you running the unofficial patch? Because Pat was having trouble with that too at one point, I remember.
Yeah, although I think I was. You're right. It seems to be behaving better now, and I've got it when I'm playing mods. I put that first in my load order, like it says, and I run the outfit switcher and the survival options. I think that's all I'm running right now, just those three, and those all seem pretty stable on the current versions. Again, as of September 9th. So
I've had very, very few like. Is it still called a crash to desktop if it's on an Xbox, you guys? What's it called?
CTD.
might as well be, yeah.
I've had very few of those. What does happen is I find when I'm going from an obvious one kind of cell to another, like an obvious, like I'm going from the countryside, obviously entering Lexington right here. You can tell where the town of Lexington literally starts in the video game's like memory or whatever. I get like a burr, and then it'll go. It's like a weird 4 or 5 second like hiccup freeze.
Yeah,
and then everything will be fine.
So to give Bethesda maybe a little bit of deserved props, I was having a lot of trouble with exactly that with my relatively high level character that my not round table, but sort of my main character that I've been playing for pretty consistently. And we've talked about it before, like whether it's number of items in chest or whatever. But I would get those crashes when I was changing cells. And when I've been playing Nuka World, which I've been pretty exclusively in Nuka World for like the last week and a half, I'll get a little hitch when it changes cells. But like the game recovers, I keep thinking, oh geez, it's going to crash. But apparently they're trapping that bug or something now with the current version, because I've only had one, I think literally just one Nuka World crash in quite a few hours in Nuka World. So seems like this current version, again as of before 9, I guess the 1.7 version has been really stable for me on Xbox.
Yeah, great. I haven't had any trouble in Nuka World at all. If I've noticed anything, it's been out in the Commonwealth with my mod weird hiccups and stuff.
No, my roundtable character died in Nuka World.
Do you want to mention this? Because I don't know if you're going to talk about this in the feedback for the roundtable, or if you want to save it for then, or if you want to bring it up on the show. Because I hear the story.
It's not a big deal. I'll just go through my initial Nuka World, because I haven't played a lot of it, but
because of this.
But I started Nuka World. I did the first, trying to not to spoiler, I did the first major boss battle, and then I went to where it was essentially like your first, like what would be your like settlement where you could like, and I tried to get out of I was wearing my Vim power armor in Nuka World because I thought it would be cool. I thought would be cool to report back on it. And I tried to get out of my power armor, and the screen would like shake and be like, and I like reloaded and tried to do all kinds of different things. I could never get out of my power armor to like repair it because my power armor was like pretty broken. So I could probably try and do the rest of Nuka World in the broken power armor, but it didn't make any sense to me. It was just I just had real problems with it there.
Ouch, that sucks. Yeah, that is pretty fun. I like the irony there of taking your BIM power armor to Nuka World. Nice.
That's
Cola
awesome.
Wars continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean maybe that was just like the Coke, Pepsi, like F you.
Yeah.
You think you could show up in this booty power armor and think you'd be okay, but it. But like I legitimately like couldn't even exit my character, and unless I was willing to like walk around in broken power armor, I couldn't play that character anymore.
Yeah, and that's not tenable because broken power armor is the worst.
So your character, how far back? Like maybe I didn't understand. How far back would your last previous save have been, or you don't have any, or what's up with that?
Well, I mean, I would essentially have to go back. I could go back, but at that point, and like, I couldn't.
And leave the power.
I was trying to identify, well, what mod was it that broke this? Because I didn't want to keep going forward and worry about in the future what was going to happen with it.
Exactly. How was it going to break?
And
recent
I was
up, all right.
And in my hubris, I was like, well, all right, I'll just start a new character, and this is what I'll do, because I was kind of getting burnt out on my character that I had, because every time it's like maybe it's the Fudge Muppet effect. It's like when I hit level 50, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. We should be doing something new and trying something different. And I was like 56 at the time, so it's like, okay, well, it's the perfect alignment of stars. The game crashed. Maybe I should start a new character. Oh, wait a minute. We have a round table, and I need to get feedback in like 2 days. Andrew's gonna hate me. Everybody's gonna come after me. I can't take it.
We won't come after you too hard.
So they say from the man that's running a boy farm.
So what are your guys' like initial impressions of this last Nuka World, the last DLC for Fallout 4 Nuka World? Are you pretty positive? I think I've gotten from Pat.
Yeah, I would say pretty positive, and I don't want to get too spoilery. I mean, I think it starts stronger than it finishes.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think just in terms of the world, I'm enjoying it because it's much more Fallout-y than Far Harbor is. It's that we talked about the mountains and the fog is irritating because there's so much radiation and all that, and so from that regard, I like Far Harbor a lot. It's got its issues, and I think Nuka World is kind of exactly the opposite.
Can I give you my just gross general? This is a terrible generalization here, and I'll give you my generic elevator pitch right here. Movie wise, scripted bad movie wise, Far Harbor, Stephen King movie based in Maine. Nuka World, more of a Mad Max amusement park.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Okay, so that's just like my general first impression, and that would be the differences. And I love me a Stephen King novel, so
yeah. Well,
but I am enjoying it so far. Sorry to interrupt you, Pat.
No. Well, I think the thing that struck me about Nuka World is it felt like it was kind of going back to Fallout 3, which was my first Fallout, walking around the Capital Wasteland, because you're in a more like sort of dry, arid, wastelandy thing, and you don't have a whole lot of, there's not a whole lot of like mountains you can't jump over and stuff like that, like in Far Harbor. So in that regard, it was very cool. I think there's aspects of it that are very nice. I know we're not spoilering, so I don't want to go too far, but it starts faster, better than it ends, I think.
That's interesting that you get a more Fallout 3 vibe from it, because I think the overwhelming, Colin from our Facebook group said that he had more of a New Vegas vibe from it, and I've heard from
Vegas.
different people that it's more New Vegasy.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, I think in the sense of like you have a big kind of weirdo place out in the middle of a desert, then yeah, it's very New Vegasy. But I was thinking not so much the specific aspects, but of just more the just jumping around it. It felt a little more like. But I can see the New Vegas comparison for sure. That's fair. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just the first few moments of impression of it. When I got into Nuka World, it was very cattle shoot. It was like you're going down these tunnels, you're doing these things.
Yes.
It's like I'm like, this is not open. I thought it was going to be like a whole open new kind of Disney kind of playground. And the first, a good 10, 15 minutes of it, it's Disney. You're going down. We're going to put you in this cattle chute, and you're going to go left, right, and we're going to make you think that you're not doing anything, and you really didn't do anything. You're going down this predetermined path. But what really clinched it for me was there's a point where it's like the gas, you need to turn off the gas. And it's like you can turn off these 3 trigger mechanisms to turn off the gas, or you can, and the guy's like, okay, you can turn off the gas, which is the game trope. Everybody that's played any game, it's like, okay, I need to find the switch to turn off these 3 gases, and you do that, and it's like, nope, you're doing it wrong. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, shit, I need to do something else. Wait, oh, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I replayed that 100 times.
Yeah. And that's kind of to the benefit of that DLC, that's kind of an interesting thing to do. It's like, that's what led you into something new and exciting.
Yeah, no offense to the DLC. I'm loving it now, but just getting into the fucking place, I was not having high hopes. I don't know if you guys got that impression too, but that whole first getting into the park was just like, oh,
you go a very long time without a save point. I was lucky enough to just barely not die. I mean, I didn't die, but it was a near thing.
Yeah, for all you survival mode people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was I would have killed for a quick save, which with survival mods, with the survival cheat that I have in my roundtable guy, I can do that. But I've been throughout all the DLCs, I've been going first time through, no mods, survival mode, and then I'll come back in and do it with other characters later.
But at the same time, I mean, most of our Fallout people that are listening to this podcast are, old-time Bethesda players. When you see things like, oh my God, there's ants. There's an ant swarm. You're like, oh my God, Fallout 3. It's like, ants, antagonists. You get really Bethesda could have done a lot of better things, and you can judge them on this game overall, where people have, they've been happy, but, over the long term, they've got more dissatisfied. There's been little, moments where you're happy to see certain things in the game.
I'm not happy to see the ant swarm. That thing is nasty.
I don't like that. Oh, not a fan. So we don't want to spoil anything story-wise, of course, but I think we can sort of discuss maybe some of the new stuff that it adds to the game without getting into story stuff.
I like one of the new guns a lot.
If you guys really care, I don't mind if you stop listening if this is too spoiler or whatever. But we'll talk about some of the new items and new stuff in the game that it adds. At least to the vanilla game, I mean, of course, the vanilla. Whatever.
Well, see, Andrew and Pat have played through more of it than I have, because when my game crashed, I wasn't able to catch up. So anytime they spoil anything, I'll be like, "What is wrong with you guys? Stop!" and
Well, here's
I will rage for our community.
well here's something that we can spoil right away with a weapon that you have used if you got to the first big boss guy at the end of the cattle shoots that you were just mentioning. Do you want to mention that little toy weapon you were talking about, Dennis?
The little water gun.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beauty. That's a
kind of
nice. As jaded and as old man as I could be, that is a cute little thing.
It's neat. I thought that was really cool too. Pat, what do you think? You like a squirt gun?
So maybe I'm missing some. I was hoping that you could do something else. You get it for a very specific purpose. I was actually hoping that there might be something else you could do with it later. I have not found something else yet. Maybe I've just missed it.
Pat, because when I took it back out into the Commonwealth, I tried to do the thing that you use it for.
Yeah.
But on a different character who has the same stuff on. And it didn't do anything. I was hoping that it would, have a similar effect or whatever,
Yeah. So that was my disappointment. Or I was hoping like you take it to a workbench and you can make it shoot acid or something, But no, I haven't found anything you can do with it.
See, ladies and gentlemen, that's the difference between Pat, the hardcore gamer, is like, I'm gonna make it into a 20-ton gun, and Andrew is like, I'm going to give it to my little boy farm, and they're going to spritz all over the world.
Squirt games on the boy farm.
But in more serious weaponry, there is some good weaponry.
What do you like?
I think we may have a best new melee weapon.
Oh.
It's a unique thing you can buy from a vendor. I think this is maybe not too spoilery. It's called is it Throat Wham? Let me pull. I'm actually have the game live here.
You know what? I haven't done a lot of the vendor stuff in the main shop area that you get to first. I haven't done a ton of that. I did go in there the other day just because I needed 45 shells for my kiloton radian rifle. So. But I haven't done a lot of stuff. There's some cool, unique weapons in there. You say I will have to explore.
Yeah, yes. So Throat Slicer, I believe, is the new best.
That might ring a bell. Nice.
I believe it's the best new melee weapon in the game. And there's also the new rifle, the 762 rifle, which I kind of like it. It's pretty cool. I'm actually running around with that now in the Wasteland, and I think it's a pretty good. I haven't found a legendary yet, so I'm just rocking a fully tricked out regular version. I'm enjoying it. It's pretty fun.
I loaded a mod, Pat, where it lets me add any legendary effect to any weapon, but you have to have a science of 4, and I'm still like 2 levels away from being able to cash in science level 4. Oh, but when that hits, I'm gonna fuck some people up with those new weapons. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Pat, have you played a melee build?
I have in New Vegas. I think New Vegas melee is my favorite build because the power. I really like the New Vegas power fist.
Mm-hmm.
It's unarmed technically, but in melee unarmed. Yeah, I don't like the power fist in 4, although I like this new Throat Slicer is pretty slick. So. I do a sneak guy who has both blitz and gunslinger, so I just kind of do whichever. So I'll go through phases where I'll do melee, or I'll do phases where I'm doing sniping or automatic weapons or whatever. Not gunslinger, commando. I like the automatics.
No, automatics are definitely awesome. I get it's either melee or fully automatic. I get the most pleasure from.
Yeah, similar for me. Yeah. Because I know there's a lot of folks who like the sniper builds and want to go like more purist and go rifleman, so non-automatic, which I guess that gives you like the most actual damage. But I'm such a terrible shot. That's so good for me.
Yeah, well, it depends on whether you're a VATS user or not. Because if you can be fully automatic or semi-automatic, if you're in VATS, you're going to get the same result one way or the other.
Yeah. So Andrew, you tend to be melee, right? You're kind of a brawler typically.
Well, it depends on the game. Actually, in Skyrim, I am pretty much only melee. I will not do archery to save my life. The only time I ever did archery in Skyrim was because I had a character that I was bound and determined to get up to level 81, which is the top level cap, at least for the vanilla game before they opened up DLCs that allowed you to go to higher levels. And I wanted, as just an achievement hunt, I wanted to get my character up to that level cap, so that's the only time I ever really used archery very much. I guess you can consider certain magic ranged attacks in Skyrim, but in Fallout, I thought that I was going to have a problem playing this game because I do not like range attack very much, and I'm not. No offense to people who love guns, but I'm not a big gun guy, and I just kind of was always turned off by games that used a lot of guns. But then I played Red Dead Redemption, which kind of like was shocking to me at first with the brutality of the weaponry and everything, but then I kind of got over that and I was like, ooh, this game is fun as shit. So I started playing other games. I was okay with Skyrim because it was all sort of like a fantasy game, and I thought I was going to have a problem with Fallout because of its it's gun based. It's a gun game basically.
What do you think about that Red Dead Redemption remaster, Andrew?
Do you think it'll actually happen? Why would they make it reverse compatible and remaster it? Will they do both?
Well, why would they do that with Skyrim?
They aren't making Skyrim reverse compatible, are they? They're just doing a remaster. They just released the reverse compatible of Red Dead Redemption a couple months ago, and someone was saying in the Facebook group that, like, hey guys, it doesn't make sense that they would also do a remaster of a game that they just released as a reverse compatible. All this means is that they're going to start doing Red Dead Redemption 2, is what he said. It doesn't give indication that they would actually do a remaster of the original. It points more towards building excitement for part 2.
Yeah, but if you're doing part 2, then you're going to use an engine that you may be able to make backwards.
Oh, that would be sweet if they did. Oh man, on that new engine to spruce up the game. Hey, I loaded it up, Dennis, and I was blown away. I was like, oh wow, they made it so that it spruces up the graphics and it looks great. And then in the group they said no, they didn't enhance the graphics at all. And I was like, well, holy shit, I was impressed. The game still looks wonderful.
See, I feel bad because we need Jeremy right now because we need to do game talk, but. Yeah. I loaded up Red Dead Redemption just because you guys were talking about it. And I'm like, this game, I was not a fan of it to begin with because
oh really
there was a point where I was hitting. Well, it was like there was Red Dead and GTA, and I'm like, this is not doing what it needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I loaded it up recently, and I'm like, this is a really good freaking game. It deserves a remaster.
I really like the story of it, and I'm usually not like a guy who's like, oh, the story has to be really good for me to get into a game. Like, I'll just play a game if it's fun. That's good enough for me.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be good, but it is good.
Yes. Yeah. And the gameplay is slightly wonky, a little bit, but it is very good for like a game that was in, it's not 10 years old yet, but it's probably 7 years old at least. I don't know when that game came out, but that's awesome. Anyway, back to Nuka World, I guess. Sorry. New factions, new enemies, new environments.
Lots of different Nuka Colas.
Yeah, actually, that's good to bring up. You collect some recipes, right?
I have a refrigerator full of like literally about 100 Nuka Colas. And if you like Quantums, which I do, Nuka Cola Quantum is a good is terrific for AP refresh and combat. You will never run out of Nuka Cola Quantum after playing Nuka World.
Hey, I found the orange. I don't know why, but that's the one I keep going back to a lot. What is the aspect of? Is it an AP boost maybe?
I haven't learned all the new ones yet.
I think it's AP because I'm doing a VATS build, and that's really helpful. Because, man, with this ninja perks and all the sneak perks that I have, Pat.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I just think I heard thunder.
Yeah, so that's what Quantum does, right? It gives you an instant AP refresh, so that's awfully nice in the middle of a nasty combat. And then I think there's Victory and Court, so they brought
Victory,
those
yeah.
in,
It does a
brought
lot.
those back. They brought those back from New Vegas. And then there's Nuka-Cola Dark, which I don't want to spoil that for people, but watch for Nuka-Cola Dark in the game. It's really quite funny.
I don't exactly remember why it was funny, but I do remember that it gave me a chuckle.
Yeah. People should discover that for themselves. Look for Nuka-Cola Dark. It's quite good.
All the terminals have been really kind of funny about the evil backdrop of a corporation running a sort of military infused amusement park. It's really good. You have to really read all of the entries
Yeah.
of the terminals. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
I'd never, people say LOL, and I never ever laugh out loud at just stuff I'm reading. Like if I'm reading and I read something funny, like I can crack up inside, but I hardly ever actually literally laugh out loud. But a terminal literally made me laugh out loud today, and I was just like, oh man, so good. But read them all, guys.
Yeah.
I put up 6,000 posts, and I'm like, Andrew's gonna LOL, and now he won't. Oh my god!
I never.
I'm
LOL.
done. I'm done.
Just might as well quit trying. I don't LOL. So the park is kind of organized into different sections. Are we allowed to talk about the sections or is that's probably spoilery, or is it not?
I don't know. What do you? Well, Dennis, did you? Yeah, I think you could talk in general terms about just the fact that there's sections. That's a big shocker. Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't get past I got past the first boss, and I got to what was supposed to be your first settlement section, and it bombed on me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's all over the internet. I think we should feel free to talk about it. If people don't want to hear about it, turn it off right now.
Yeah. So maybe that's fair. Just a little bit of very minor spoilage.
I'm not even through it all the way yet. Anyway, actually, I was going to ask Pat how far I am into the storyline, because I have met a primitive person and helped him complete his portion of removing the enemies that he did not want around his part.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite.
Ask you, how far percentage-wise do you think I am through the main storyline of Nuka World?
Is that the only thing you've done?
No. I played around in the space zone, the galactic zone it is called, everyone, since we've already dropped spoilers here. There's a galactic zone that's sort of space-based that has the coolest fucking time tunnel cool effect that I wanted to stand in there and just soak up the cosmos, baby.
That was very trippy, very nice.
Oh, so cool.
So there's 5. So let me just I talked about this, and I think it was on the Facebook group. I don't want to leap ahead and spoil.
Just do it, Pat. Come on.
Spoilers been warned.
So we know this is very Raider centric, right? And at a point and this is, I think, obvious from just watching the watching the trailer where you see Raider gangs invading the Commonwealth. You at some point have to decide, do you want to side with the Raiders or not? And what I decided was, with this character, who actually that's always been like, he has a hard on for just like killing Raiders. Like Raiders and Gunners are like the things he hates the most, because they're humans who have gone bad and should not be doing that to other humans. They should be trying to survive in the wasteland, not trying to kill other humans. So he was never going to side with the Raiders. So the character for him forced me to go down a particular path. So I'm going to go in with another character and side with the Raiders.
Well, see, that's kind of the problem with this DLC.
Yes.
Is the fact that before Nuka World, you were spending all of your time trying to Preston Garvey and get all these settlements under your control and trying to get them, and then Nuka World kind of does an about face and it's like, well, you can take them back and you can be a raider. It's like, it's kind of jarring. It just doesn't work. And I love Fallout, and I hate to dismiss anything that they do, but it doesn't work from what you started with to what they want you to do. It's like Bethesda heard everything is like, well, there was no like evil options throughout the entire game, because the entire voice protagonist was like, well, you could either be like, shucks, okay, I'll do this, or, I don't know what's going on. There was no kind of like mixed option. Whereas with New Vegas and with Fallout 3, you could have a murky option and it would like not fit. There was never that with this game.
Yeah.
And now Nuka World's like trying to overcompensate. It's like, well, now you can be evil. It's like, well, I've been good for like 2,000 hours, guys. Now I'm supposed to go back and undo all that?
Yeah, I think the one counterpoint I think is, and I agree, by the way, I had the same thing with this character. I think the one counterpoint, I think this is something Rick and Shalene have talked about on their terrific podcast, Falling Off the Record, highly recommended, is that the game, there's a fair amount of 4 where the raiders have been humanized. Like if you listen to their dialogue, there's raiders that question why they're doing this, who want to get out of the game. There's the one raider who's mourning her dead friend. She's still hostile and you still want to kill her, but there's the raider that you see like literally burying a dead friend. So they've done things to humanize the raiders, and so in that regard, you could view Nuka World as kind of the next step of, well, wait a minute, there's kind of like a little raider settlement basically that's worth exploring. And there's things you can do to soften some of the raidery-ness of these guys, but in the day, it was just not going to work for my particular character.
Well, that's the thing. You can soften it, and you could say, oh, they're a little bit more human, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, they want to come in and overtake your settlement. Would you like to pay money to get out of it, or would you like to die? That doesn't work. I agree,
and I think I like I said, I didn't side with the Raiders, so I want to play through again and see what it's like to side with them. But my sense is that of the 3 gangs, one of them I just find to be pretty despicable. One of them is goofy, and one of them is kind of like, they're kind of posers. Like it's the hair chick. She's like the hair chick that Shalene was taken with. She's kind of a poser, I think.
Dude, total sellout.
Yeah. So anyway, so I am definitely looking forward. So just a sidebar, I've got with one of the mods, like Andrew, your alternate start mod that I think we had some Facebook chat about.
Yes.
I done an alternate start mod and jump started. It's I forgot. It's been a couple weeks since I actually used it.
I don't remember anything ever.
Yeah, but it's what computers are for. If I go to it, it's sitting on my Xbox. But
alternate life, another life,
yeah. So I done an and I also used it because you can jumpstart your character. You can like give yourself some XP so you can start at level 20 or whatever. And so I jump started a character, and what I decided was I was really going to play up the synth aspect for her, and she's just kind of almost like confused, like Guy Pearce in what's the movie? The people on the podcast, the people listening are yelling, Memento. Thank you. Like she's kind of like memorylessness. She has no memory, and
something. I'm proud.
6,000 listeners are going, what is wrong with you, pet? Oh,
yeah, but Andrew pulled it out. But so anyway, I have a character, and I think of her as like she's a blank slate, and I think, okay, if she encounters these raiders, she'll be all in with them, and so she can kind of do the go full on raider. So I'm going to take her out there, and she's also just a hardcore fighter too. She's got all I use that jump starting with the levels to just put everything into agility and endurance and strength, and she's got blitz and all this other crazy stuff. So she's just a combat machine. So I think it'll be kind of fun to take her out there and play with the Raiders.
Awesome. Sorry, I zoned out for a second there. I was thinking about, man, that Momentum movie was pretty cool. I should go watch that movie. Man. Let's go watch a movie, guys.
Yeah, movie night.
I'll give you fair warning here. We're about an hour into the show, a little over an hour. We did have a thunderstorm just roll into the area, so in case I accidentally just immediately drop off, it's because the power went out in my house.
And not because he doesn't want to listen to us talk anymore.
Has nothing to do with. So yeah. Nuka World, what else were we talking about? So new factions. We've already dropped spoilers, so again, whatever, who cares? The pack. I love the pack. They have the best hats. I want all of your hats. Fuck you, pack. I didn't want to piss all of them off, but I did because I have Sneak and I always want to say Enter Sandman, but that's the Metallica song. What's the
Internet.
Mr. Sandman.
Mr. Sandman, yeah.
Yeah. I found a sleeping person, and you have the instant kill perk. Yeah. So I did take one helmet that I found particularly nice. Was the elephant one?
Elephant head. That's a good one.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And there's a bird one that I really like too. It looks sort of like a cockatoo, parrot kind of thing.
Caw-caw.
Yeah, exactly. I really need to get all of their hats. I feel like Shalene right now. I need to start a hat collection.
Yeah, but they have those goofy painted guns. I just can't get over those.
I don't understand those. What is up with their guns, Pat?
I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
Are there any special perks because they're just like they look Dayglow pink or fluorescent pink?
No, each of the three has a special paint job. One of them is just kind of a camo. One of them's just pretty boring, and then you have this crazy paint, the crazy colorful one that the pack has, and of course they've got clothes that are just as goofy too. You can pick up,
I love the pack, except for they have all the like slaves and collars. Right? Is that the pack?
Oh, they all the
Or is that the
all of them.
All of them have slaves and collars. That makes me fucking weird, man. I don't want to have anything to do with the Raiders. I want to free all the people in their fucking collars.
That's me too.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I can't believe you're feeling fucking weird now. It's like, I've got a boy farm. I get fancy lad snack cakes. I'm doing this. Now you fucking feel weird? Oh,
You can only roll
okay.
so much.
All right. Skyrim Remaster, October, coming.
There's some crazy stuff.
And Pat is going to be leading the Skyrim Roundtable.
Yeah, Pat is going to lead it.
No, I don't know. I
Get
don't
a
know if
schedule. Good. I'm glad someone else can do that.
I still have things I need to do in Fallout. I need to do a permadeath run. I don't know that I have the skill to do it, but I want to try.
Permadeath meaning if you die, you're dead. Dead is dead.
Yeah.
Have you,
Pat? Have you watched Many a True Nerd?
No, I have not.
You need to look up Many a True Nerd. He does Fallout 3 and the DLCs. He does permadeath runs where it's like from the minute he takes damage, it's like he could die. Look it up. Many a True Nerd.
Is that YouTube or Twitch?
YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I've been watching a couple of Twitch streamers that are a lot of fun that I've talked about weirdest builds before, and there's this other guy, T Ronix, who does he's the guy who did a no-hit run, like literally did not take a single hit in Fallout.
I've read articles about those. Have you taken the time to actually watch any portion of the stream?
I watched his no-hit run start to finish.
I did watch the no-hit run.
How does that work? Good Lord.
Well, so I say watch. What I do is I put them on at the gym. I actually will put them on at the car and just listen to them because I played Fallout enough. I know what I'm doing by sound.
I wanna
Damn.
go to the gym.
Damn, Andrew, did you hear that? He puts it on in the gym.
The
It's like,
gym. I wanna.
nah.
I just listen to podcasts when I'm driving back and forth to my crappy job. Ugh.
Well, God knows you should not be listening to podcasts, Andrew, because
God knows I shouldn't be
What?
driving.
yes, never drive, Andrew. We need to get a limousine driver for Andrew. That's
Oh.
our next ASA,
Kickstarter
Kickstarter right there.
24/7 Uber for Andrew.
I'll just get a Lyft driver because I like mustache rides.
Oh, that's dirty.
Oh snap!
So in the Facebook group, Harlan Meeks is I think a fairly recent new addition to the Facebook group, but he's been pretty active a lot recently. Shout out to Harlan. Actually, you've heard Harlan in the previous episode did his initial feedback for Nuka World and what he thought about it. But Harlan was bringing up how he thought that Nuka World was kind of maybe a nod to New York City in that the boroughs are set up in a similar fashion.
Oh, good call.
The five boroughs of New York represent the five boroughs of Nuka World. I have no idea if that holds any water or not.
Well, because Pat is all about knowing about inner city, because he's all about Philadelphia.
I don't know from Philadelphia. I'm a creature of the suburbs. Actually, I actually know New York better than I know Philadelphia. Oddly enough.
Man, oh man, not right.
Yeah, but I thought that was a fairly interesting.
That's really interesting. Wow.
And I don't know much about the boroughs here and there. If there's any actual representation of each of the boroughs and any of the segments, if the Bronx is really the jungle that is that primitive aspect. I have no idea what they're talking about.
So you got the Bronx and then Staten Island would be. Let's see which one's down that way. Let's see. You got that and that and that.
So do you think it's actual geographic location of the orientation of the different boroughs, or is it through characteristics of the like?
It might be, for my mind, it might be characteristics, but I don't think it's set up. I don't think it's that close.
What I was thinking, I haven't been to Disney in fucking forever, but aren't there also like 5 parks to Disney?
Yes.
Isn't there like like a movie studios one and the Epcot Center and then an animal safari one and this or that and a water park or something?
Yeah. Or you could go old school and you got what? Frontierland, Tomorrowland. Because that's like the old before like there was multiple things. Even Disneyland has
different.
All listeners are yelling at what the things are, but Tomorrowland.
Oh my God, Pat!
You should ask Michael. Michael goes to Disney just about as often as I go to work.
Because it's all about Morrowind.
I don't get that joke. I've never played Morrowind. What's that mean?
Oh my God, you didn't play Morrowind? Andrew.
Skyrim was my first Bethesda game. Fallout 4 was my second. Like, I'm a noob to these games, guys. I should not be doing a podcast about video games. I really shouldn't.
No.
I just
Andrew,
don't have the depth of knowledge.
You're just man, boy, my part. And let me tell you about Morrowind and leveling up and trying to master all your skills. And you need to put 2 points here and 3 points there.
If it's anything like Oblivion, I can't get over it. There's all these classes, and like if I want to be the acrobat, you can do this and that and the other, and I'm like, no, I don't understand any of this. I don't get the classes of role-playing games.
And when I posted in the Facebook group, Andrew's like, you should just have fun. I'm like, no, it's not about fun. It's about
fun. It's
numbers. Numbers, Andrew. Numbers.
Yes. Numbers.
Well, see, that's so I started my main guy that I play. That's why I'm stuck with him so long, because I started him out with the typical like min-max style, and very focused on the way I was going to play. But now that he's high enough level, I'm actually kind of turned him into a generalist. So like he's got like 10 endurance, like 10. I have now 10 endurance and 10 agility, and I could like literally sprint across the wasteland, and I never run out of AP because when you have both stats that high, you can sprint basically forever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I because I learned that from watching Twitch. I learned that from watching Twitch.
I learned by watching you, Dad.
Yeah.
I learned by watching you.
So
you learned it from watching SA Fallout feed at gmail.com.
So this was a new trick. I enjoy sprinting across the wasteland with my newfound agility and endurance. So it's
that's amazing.
So like now this guy's like a generalist. He like wears power armor sometime. He sprints or whatever. So it's kind of fun because you can do a little bit of everything.
What's the highest level you've ever gotten one single character in this game, Pat?
This guy is at 96 right now. Well, I briefly I played around with some mods to like get some ridiculous levels, and I got him up to like 110 on mods, but I decided that was just too stupid. So I'm now back to the unmodded version and have him up to 96.
If I bring up a listener and somewhat frequent poster, Michael, who has the really high level character Jennifer, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
He's up over like 256 or something, right?
Yeah, it's like two. I don't know what it is with the new perks they've added and all.
They've added a few new perks with the.
Yeah, see, it hurts. It hurts Pat because Pat wants to be. I want to get my character to level 3,000.
3,000.
No, it's like it's 280 or something. See, the problem is Michael. Yeah, well, it's one per special. So Far Harbor added 7, and then Nuka World added 7.
Oh, good lord!
He really do you hear him, kids? He really wants to get there. He really wants to be there.
Nah, I don't have the patience. I'm not.
That is awesome. I wonder if he has any other characters. Do you know if he runs any other characters ever? He must not, right? And he's still playing her.
Well, if you're happy and you're enjoying your character, that's all you need to have.
I just wish I wish I could have the dedication to something in my life as much as he has to the Jennifer.
You do, Andrew, because I've listened to your Skyrim Addict and all your other stuff.
No,
you've got that dedication.
To nothing individual.
Hey, all you need to do, Andrew, is be two-handed. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, that is the way to live life. Is
not a sneaky archer.
No, not at all. So, what else? Okay, we have. Pat, I don't know. There is another part of the park I haven't been to. There's an old Western section that we haven't even mentioned yet.
Yeah.
There's the Cosmos part. What's it called? Galaxy
something. Galactic Zone. It's
Galactic. Okay, yeah.
Galactic Zone, Dry Gulch.
Oh, Dry Gulch. That's the Western one. That's some fun enemies there. They're like this. They're not called sandworms, but that's
the graboids.
Graboids. They remind me of a cross between the things from Tremors and
the graboids. That's the graboids.
Graboids is what they're called from Tremors.
I believe
I had
so.
No idea. That's like knowing that the alien from Aliens is actually called the Xenomorph, not an alien.
Is that some Kevin Bacon shit right there?
He dropped some Kevin Bacon 4 degrees. Good job, Pat.
Good job, Pat.
So graboids. Yeah, I thought they looked like a cross between the graboids from Tremors and the sandworms from Beetlejuice a little bit.
Oh, Beetlejuice. Haven't seen that in ages.
Those are kind of stripy, though, a little more.
When you say sandworms, I think Dune. So Dune, sandworm equals Dune for me. I can't.
Sci-fi knowledge is not nearly as deep as it needs to be. I don't think I've ever seen Dune. I don't know that.
No, well, Dune is not a scene; it's a red because the movies of Dune are pretty terrible.
Okay. And Planet of the Apes, do you vouch?
I've been there, done that. Yeah, there's some Planet of the Apes vibes in a few places in Fallout games.
Yeah. I like Jangles the Moon Monkey.
Love Jangles.
It's funny. So I don't know.
And just real quick on Nuka World, just so we're probably trying to wrap up, but there's some pretty good side quests.
Yeah.
I found a couple of them to be really pretty decent, and there's a couple fairly elaborate fetch quests too that have a decent one of which has a lousy payoff.
Would you be willing to rate Nuka World above Far Harbor or Automatron?
Definitely. I mean, it's hard to. It's almost like you've got the two full DLCs in Nuka World and Far Harbor. You've got the two kind of mini ones in Automatron and Vault Tech, and then you've got the Contraptions and Workshop.
If you had to put your money on one, what are you going to bet on?
It would have to be Far Harbor because of the story. The story, I think, is much more satisfying in Far Harbor.
Okay.
Pat, you bring up something there. Keep in mind what you're about to say. You bring up something that you just said that I've wanted to try to express, but I haven't really had ample time to think how to say it well. So I'm probably going to stick my foot in my mouth here. But I was wanting to compare and contrast the Skyrim DLC to the Fallout 4 DLC, and I think that they are very similar. But things were just released in a different way. A lot of people have been complaining that there's way too much building DLC, too much building, too much construction. Who cares? This build that. Who cares? But what I'm saying here is they released the exact same DLC for Fallout 4 that they did for Skyrim. They just packaged it differently. Hear me out. For Skyrim, they had... I don't know in what order they released things. I was really late to the Skyrim game. I think Dawn Guard might have been the first one, which is a very nice, big, story-based DLC, very interwoven into the map. No new sections of the map were created. It was just interwoven into the map that's already there, which is really cool. I liked Dawn Guard a lot, but it is a huge, big story-based DLC, very similar to like.
But in all fairness, when Dawn Guard came out, there was a lot of people that hated on it because you went into that whole section of the vampire where people were very unhappy and very,
that wasn't very cool. But as with anything in these games, if you don't like doing it, then don't do it and shut up. Who cares?
But that's what I'm saying is that's the parallel. Is the fact that people have the idea of Dawn Garden. It's okay. It was a great DLC, but when they talk about Far Harbor, it's like, oh, it's shit. They did this, and this. It's like, it's the passage of time.
Yeah. But I was saying I think the DLCs are packaged pretty much exactly the same in that out came Dawn Guard and Far Harbor are similar in scope to their majestic storylines, very big. And also then the other huge story one for Fallout 4 was Nuka World, which is its own separate part of the map. Is actually Far Harbor was too, but it's sort of like Solstheim and Skyrim because it's its own section of the map, and it's also extremely story based and lots of new locations to go. And Solstheim, what was it called, Dragonborn, was like that with Skyrim. So I think those two are equivalent in that there was two huge story based DLCs for each of those games, and then I think that if you just add Vault Tech and and all of that stuff together and treat it as just one DLC, it shouldn't have been released as 3. I think they just should have released it as 1. To me, that would have been pretty much the equivalent of Hearthfire. I'm sure people are screaming at me how wrong I am about that right now, but Hearthfire was the construction DLC for Skyrim. Granted, it was much lower in scope, but it was the foundation, the building blocks of what we have come to know as settlement building in Fallout 4 now. It was the Hearthfire DLC where you could construct your own homestead, basically. It was very controlled, very limited, very on rails about what you could do with it. But it was the foundation of where we are now. And I just think that the Fallout 4 DLC building stuff should have just been released as one, and then bam, you have the exact same DLC package. So to me, it seems almost kind of money grabbish to have Vault Tech and Contraptions and Automatron all separated out. Does that make any sense? Am I totally off base there with that opinion of the DLC comparison between the two games?
To Dennis, we'll have to take the comparison because I don't know the Skyrim side.
Don't play Skyrim, man.
Now, for my money, Skyrim aside, I think the Fallout 4 DLC was just too fast. I think they just needed to let it breathe a little bit more.
That is a very good point that we have brought up in the group. That I think that they released shit way too fast. They could have put DLC out for 2 years instead of one calendar.
Because the thing is if you got people on the season pass, the people that are in the season pass are locked in. They're going to be there whenever.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you're going to pick up enough business from, this DLC or that DLC to where it's going to. I think if you just let it breathe, because it was like Fallout 4 is like this month, that month, next month, and it generates a certain excitement for your game, but at the same time, it's like for people that are really interested in it, it's like you could draw it out just a little bit more and you would have a little bit better result.
It's like consideration for us podcasters who need to actually develop content and get a good deep relationship with each of these DLCs in order to report on them to our faithful listeners. Like they have zero consideration for us guys.
Well, it's in all honesty, not just podcasters. It's a joke, but podcasters. But there's a lot of YouTubers. There's a lot of other people that are producing content that are generating interest in this Bethesda game. It's like you're doing all this we're going to drop this, and next month we're going to drop this, and next month we're going to drop this, and it's like okay, man, I it's too much.
Yeah, space it out. And package all that building stuff together in one and just do 3 big releases, one of each, 3 months apart from each other.
I'll go on the record right now. The building shit was shit. It's ridiculous. I don't think that if you want to package it all, you could do it in 1 month, one DLC, whatever. I think it's ridiculous. I appreciate that the building things add a certain thing, but Minecraft was 5 years ago, guys. Come on, we don't need to.
Added a Sims aspect.
You're doing Radiant quests. You're doing building stuff. It's not stuff that is new and innovative. So you've got a good game.
But there's a lot of people that have had a lot of fun with the building stuff, right? I mean, there's people in the Facebook group. There's a lot of people online that have really had a good time with that. And
shout out to Ted Finch, who makes
exactly
badass videos of building ever. I love watching Ted's awesome construction videos.
Yeah.
No, but see, that's the thing is I love Ted. Ted does a wonderful job at what he does in building that. But for every Ted that is building these great, monumental settlements, there's 10 other people that are going, what the hell are we doing? This is not
talking about, Dennis. There's only one Ted. You said there's 10 other Teds. That can't be.
No, there's one Ted. There's 10 other of us are going, what the hell? I can't work with this.
Oh, Ted's amazing.
No, Ted is amazing, and everybody should watch Ted's videos.
So I think the bottom line, for me, if you think about the total package of here's the total package of stuff that we've gotten on the season at the cost of the season pass, I think it's dollar-wise very reasonable. I agree with you guys that it's come out too fast, and it would have been nice for it to be spread out over maybe 18 months, 2 years. Man, I guess actually it's right about a year, right? Because it's
I like that.
Yeah, or it's even 10 months. So like if it had gone 18 months, that might have been nicer. And I think the other thing about the building stuff, the workshops, contraptions, they actually added some stuff that is functionally very helpful, like the population management terminal and the companion tracking
I haven't
quests that it gives you.
those yet, Pat. I still want to play around with those. See, there's still so much to the game. I still haven't time to get
But
into.
so yeah, and the reason I don't do much construction. I build settlements, like I do a lot in my settlements, but it's all like water farm, adhesive farm, storage, and all that. So I do things in my settlement, but not like pretty things. I just do things like, okay, here's a crappy, shitty store, but it gets me some caps, and here's my lousy adhesive farm, but it gets me some glue. So I do that stuff, and then so from that point of view, I do a lot of building, but not for looks, but just for sheer practicality of what it does in the game.
How dare you besmirch your adhesive farm? It's not lousy, Pat. It produces something very useful.
It's ugly.
No, but see, that is the crux of what we're talking about Fallout 4, is the fact that you're talking about two different games. You're talking about, do you want to build things and have a overall settlement, and you're doing construction, or you're talking about the gamers who are trying to, well, I need to build an adhesive farm, I need to do this, that, or the other thing. That is the big divide about this game. You're going back. It goes back to the the voice protagonist over
Yeah, but why does the game need to be pigeonholed? Why does it have to be one thing? Can it be a couple different things? And I think it's
well, it doesn't have to be a couple different things if we can be, as a community, we can be happy about what we're talking about.
Yeah, I just feel like it's it's there's enough there that it can be really quite good at both. I think the thing it's lacked, and we've talked about this many times, is the overall story element falls off compared to to 3 in New Vegas. But I think other aspects of the game are really nice. The extensibility, and by the way, I put this on the Facebook group. I don't think it's come up on a podcast that I've been on, but my pet theory is that Bethesda is moving this so quickly and pushing mods so hard is because they're eventually going to take, whether it's, and I'm not saying it's necessarily Obsidian, but they're going to say, they're going to go to some other studio and say, here, build a Bethesda approved mod that will sell for $10 or whatever, and it'll be officially supported. Right. I think they're going to eventually do that, and that's why I think they're so quick.
To say they're going to do yet another Fallout-based game, much like New Vegas, on the same sort of like engine. But
well, they could. I mean, if they wanted, the engine's extensible enough, they could do that. But I guess I'm more thinking
mod wise.
It'd be more like a mod to say, like, here's something the size of a mod, not the size of an entirely new game. And now, I would love it if they did an entirely new game and turned over the engine to some other studio to develop something. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, but at the same time, Pat, you want to turn it over to another studio and do another game, but are you going to want it to do it with settlement building, or are you going to do it with more quests, or what are we talking about here?
Well, I think that one of the great things about Fallout 4 is that they didn't make it so that it was absolutely mandatory that you have to do a ton of building in order to be successful. One of the great things about this game is that, you complain about the building, but why don't you just not do it if you don't like doing it? Who cares? Just go off and play the vanilla game, and then people are like, oh, but there's not enough to do with the vanilla game. Just go off and do more. There's more to do. You're just not looking hard enough. Come on, go do it. I don't know. And I'm Pat here. I'm going to add to your conspiracy theory of DLC release and rushing stuff out here. How much of this has to do with getting stuff out super fast so that they can get a package together for a Game of the Year edition or special edition or re-release edition that includes all of the DLC and a bonus package that every video game that is highly successful does like a year after its release.
I think that's highly likely.
Yeah. So money grab, ching ching.
Well, they're not in it for they're not in it for our health, right? They're in it.
Yeah.
That to me, I grab the money with both fists, right? I mean,
Why not?
I see zero
Deserves it.
things wrong with that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I'll gladly hand my money over with both fists just because it's worth it to me. And
yeah, I have fun.
And I think you're right. I mean, I think the pace of those Game of the Year editions is really accelerated, because back in the day of 3 in New Vegas, only 4 or 5 years ago, those would take 2 years to come out as opposed to later the same year.
Well, it has nothing to do with what the community's desire for the Game of the Year edition is. It's we need to bump our profits up for X, Y, and Z. That's the way it is. There's nothing wrong with that. It's in the company's best interest. That's what they need to do, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. I just had one more Nuka World note here. People are having a very interesting conversation in the Facebook group about pissing off Preston as a result after the what you're doing in Nuka World when you become leader of the Raiders. Evidently, you sort of do reverse Minutemen stuff where you go to settlements and sort of convince them to be raiders and then invest raider settlements out in the Commonwealth. Is that true, Pat? Have you done any of that?
Well, that's what I refuse to with my character, and that's in the trailer. So yeah, there's literally raiding settlements that shows in the trailer, and that's what I refuse to do with my guy.
Okay, as in a different character that you restart, you said you probably might do stuff.
Yeah, no, I am with a different character, although that character I think is probably going to never talk to Preston.
Oh, that's true.
No,
they were talking about their relationship. They had Preston as a follower.
Yeah, I'm sure Preston would be very unhappy in Nuka World.
Preston does hate that, so.
Yeah, I fully expect Preston would be very unhappy in Nuka World.
It actually does have an effect. If you have a normal Minutemen settlement and then you turn it into a raider, you will lose Preston's favor and I guess eventually become his enemy and he'll attack you on sight and stuff, I guess, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, in all honesty, does anybody care? I mean,
no, I think that's the gathered interest is the inside joke of all of this, right? You totally
absolutely.
It's totally written in. Bethesda on purpose wrote this in that you could get back at Preston because of the initial wave of ire that they got from the general voice of Fallout 4 fans who were like, "Fuck you, Preston."
No, that's the thing. I'll tell Pat right now, if we had a DLC where Preston was like, "You fucked everything up, I'm coming after you." That would be a DLC, and everybody would be excited about that. Like, oh my God, Preston's coming after us. Let's go.
Yeah, it'd be a great DLC. Hiding out from Preston, you're on the run from Preston. Yeah.
God, why don't we know more mod writers, guys?
Kyle, where are you at?
He's a voice actor. I don't think he's writing anything, dude.
Well,
he knows.
Kyle should voice Preston.
Oh, that'd be great. Get on it, Kyle.
Come on, Kyle.
I just realized how long we've been going tonight. We should have broken this up into 2 episodes. We're going to do a marathon episode. So let's go ahead and get your last initial thoughts in on Nuka World and send this one home, guys. What do you think?
It's strong at the start, a little weak at the finish. A good addition to the game. I guess the downside is I wish the last DLC had been stronger.
Would have you been more excited if the release had been flip-flopped with Far Harbor coming out last?
Probably so. Yeah, just because the story of Far Harbor is and there's story in Nuka World. Don't get me wrong. It's just the end of the story. And frankly, if I go the other way and kind of go pro raider, I might say, hey, this was terrific.
Yeah.
So in fairness, I need to give it at least one more playthrough before I make a final decision.
Yeah, good call. Dennis, I know you didn't get too terribly far into it, but initial impressions positive or lukewarm?
No, I'm very excited to get into into Nuka World. Far Harbor, just the whole landscape, the way it was presented to me, I'm just not a fan. Nuka World seems more peppy, more exciting, and I want to be peppy. I want to be Andrew. I want to bring children into Nuka World. That's what I want to be.
Well, Billy needed a trip, and he needed some spirits lifted. 200 years in a fridge will give you a crick in the neck, like you. On that note, I would like to thank everyone for listening to this edition of the Fallout feed. And I'll remind you that you can look us up on the internet at asapodcasting.com. Well, you will find some information on our big upcoming event, everyone, the ASA Podcasting fundraiser for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation to help find a cure for cystic fibrosis, a cause near and dear to the hearts of those of us at ASA Podcasting. So if you'd like more information on that, go to asapodcasting.com. And we look forward to the big event on October 29th, where we'll be doing a marathon podcast from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. It'll be a 12-hour event. We did it last year. It was a lot of fun. We'll have all of our different shows from ASA Podcasting doing different events and streams and stuff along with Twitch, and it'll be right after the release of the new Skyrim remaster, so it'll be a lot of fun. So
And Pat has guaranteed that he's going to play 48 hours straight of Skyrim, no breaks.
You're gonna hook up that catheter bag, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
okay.
all Skyrim all the time.
On that note, I'll say thank you for listening to the Fallout feed, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
See
you in Nuka World.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout feed, the Askyrimaddictpodcast podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
Okay. Gosh, what should I stop first? Let's stop.
All right, so we're going to do another episode right now?
Yeah, let's do another 2-hour long. I hope you guys don't have to work in the morning. I'm sorry.
No, that's the plus over a Friday.
I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. I'm so totally excited to do the episode with you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. What are you apologizing?